Well, hello there, gentlemen. YouTube citizens of the world. Yes, coming to you live, recorded on a cell phone with no studio audience. Aaron here with Christian men going their own way. My foot in my mouth as usual, can't talk. I'm gonna wing it here as usual. Didn't take any notes. I want to talk to you, men, about uh, going your own way as more of a necessity than an option. And this is concerning the times we're living in politically and geopolitically, and with what's going on, what's lurking behind the scenes with world government and everything going on. So it looks like we're heading for some sort of economic disaster worldwide, and if you're not paying attention, the banking systems are all fraudulent. They have, most of y'all know about fiat currency, which is basically banks can leverage or lend out 10 times their what they have on hand, because they figure no one's gonna. If you have 10 accounts with $100 each, they figure no one's going to withdraw that $100 all at the same time, or nobody will, or they figure they're gambling, essentially, is what I'm trying to say. They operate on the basis of there's always going to be someone with deposits on their account. So, but they've gotten away with printing this. All these nations have gotten away with printing money and devaluing currency, and it's coming home to roost. It seems like worldwide. So we got that going on, and as a man going his own way, if we start to look around and realize that our currency is not purchasing as much as it used to due to devaluation, and this goes both ways. I mean, you might have some deflation in prices as well, such as petroleum. Gasoline's going down when there's not enough demand because people aren't buying as much. Generally, it's hard to tell where this thing's going to cave in at, but I might be rambling on here. That's fine, but we got that going on. So rather than talk about the woman aspect of MGTOW, what if we're forced to go our own way, where we don't have any more options as far as money? Your food and shelter are going to be, and just basic means of life are going to become a real priority over what we've been doing lately. So I've seen this coming for years, and it just keeps getting postponed. The chicken's coming home to roost, because all this stuff, our economy and how this fraudulent government we have here in America, it's just a bunch of criminals is all it is. I mean, you can't make a lie and a scam go on forever. So, anyways, we need to be thinking about not relying on what we currently have had to operate and live with in the last few years, because things are going to change. So there's that aspect. There's this lurking social network credit score system that's they're talking about implementing here in America now. It's over in China being test run. And this coming system is very, very ugly to the free, independent thinking individual. This is complete government tyranny, and it's going to happen whether we like it or not. So that's coming down the crap chute. Basically, what I'm kind of alluding to, we're in a season where things are going to change for the worse for the individual sovereign thinking man that's got a, the well-regulated man, if you want to call it that. Our government and governments around the world, primarily the American empire, is grasping at anything it can get now. Where Trump had offered, recently Trump here had offered to purchase Greenland from Denmark, and basically Denmark said, "Go screw yourself," to Trump, and rightfully so. And now the military is moving into Greenland, so I knew exactly what was going to go on there. But Greenland or Denmark is going to probably have a change, what they call a regime change, basically another CIA overthrow of the government of Denmark, like they're trying to do in Venezuela and haven't succeeded yet. Honduras, where else? Apologize, my hands are itching a little bit here. Getting this under control. But the American empire is grasping at anything it can do to maintain world power and dominance, especially since the petrodollar, their whole dollar system is getting shaky. Petroleum, the dollar became great because of back in the 60s or 70s, whenever it was, the U.S. went to the Saudi Arabian, I wouldn't call it a government, dictatorship, and said, "We protect your regime if you make your oil based in the base trading reserve currency." I don't know how to phrase this right. I'm not an expert in any of this stuff, but they said, "We protect your regime if you forced everybody to buy oil with dollars only." So that's kind of where the dollar has gotten its strength and remains strong, is the petrodollar, and that's getting shaky. So America is making the American government, or I shouldn't even call it a government. The U.S. corporate criminal cabal is making a mess around the world. They're basically how do I say this? They're pissing off just about every country out there and backing themselves into a corner. Other than the other known criminal governments such as England and UK or whoever these other scumbags are that are trying to run the world. So the banking establishments. Israel, I don't know what to think about Israel anymore. Certainly just a slight tangent here. This is my thoughts on Israel. God made a covenant with the people, not the government. So, and that covenant, the people broke off. God broke that covenant off with the people. But God said He was putting His name in Israel on that land forever. So that's the hard part of this whole juggling this whole scenario. What should we think about Israel? We know the governments are corrupt. We know that the Antichrist will stand in the temple after it's rebuilt and claim that he's God, and that'll be a mess all in itself. But going back to these governments grasping for power, and this whole thing is getting set up for World War, the trade wars, the economic recessions, depressions coming. These banking cartels that are running the world aren't going to go down or go down with anybody without a fight. They're going to get something stirred up. So it is. I think us men who are independent thinking and awake need to figure out how are we going to survive this. if this goes to a hot war, which I think the Bible says is coming in the sixth trumpet. The sixth trumpet war describes an army of 200 million men with a situation that starts or emanates from the river Euphrates, basically the Middle East, where all the oil and all these problems are, and all these proxy wars going on. And the destructive force of this 200 million man army is basically fire and brimstone, and it kills a third of the human race. And the Muslims in their Quran, depending on who you listen to, Sheikh Imran, I like to listen to Sheikh Imran Hussein. He seems to be a very honest and well-balanced man in what he preaches. And he says they got the same thing written in their Quran as they call it I think it's called the Melham, a war that starts over in the Middle East. And they say 99 out of every 100 military men will be killed. And after that, the geopolitics of the world shift to where Israel is in power. And that's what the Bible says as well. And these systems, so I want to kind of circle back around to this social credit system leading to what they call the mark of the beast, as it's called in the Bible, where you cannot buy or sell unless you have this mark in your hand or on your forehead. And this, right now, it's not here as far as the oath or it basically says anybody who accepts that mark will be eternally damned, essentially, because you've chosen your own way to go with the little god government. So you chose, but where was I going with this? These systems are being set up and test run right now. They're not it, but basically the timing of it is after after World War III, after Israel has its temple rebuilt and they're doing animal sacrifices, the Antichrist will stand there in the temple and claim that he's God, that he's sovereign over everything. And then he'll cause everybody to receive a mark on their hand or forehead. We're not there yet, but everything is falling into place faster than I thought. Now we have the deep fake systems coming, the deep fake imagery. And so basically they got computer technology so accurate and perfect that it'll mimic your face and your voice. And we're at the point where we won't know if anything we see on a TV or a computer screen is real. We won't know. So there's no telling what is going to come down the crapshoot as far as that goes. But in the I'm going to paraphrase part of Revelation, is when the beast it talks about the beast. And an image was given to the beast, and so that it should speak and utter things. And I haven't brushed up on that for a while, but that's another thing that's fallen into place here. So another thing the Bible has warned us that's coming is now available or is ready to be put into operation. So I wanted to share my thoughts with you guys because we're getting close. We're getting close to, we're going to have to the point where we're going to have to make a decision ourselves how to live independent of the system that we're currently in, because we might be forced to, whether it be from a hot nuclear war, which I'm pretty sure is coming faster than we realize, or if we're going to have that to deal with, and running up to that, an economic collapse of some sort, unless they take us right to war, which is possible. So we need to be on our feet and realize what's in front of us, and quit being asleep behind the wheel. Because things are changing very quickly, and God saw it fit to warn everybody he could that would listen about what's coming. I happen to think we're getting really close to seeing some major changes in the way we have to live. So, and if we get a hot nuclear war going, it means you're going to have a means of survival underground or in some sort of fallout shelter for upwards of 3 weeks. If you're in a localized area where an A bomb drops, a nuclear bomb drops, there's not a whole lot you can do unless you're underground a little ways. But people have survived those areas over like Nagasaki and Hiroshima. But it's stuff we need to be thinking about. And the gamma rays coming off the dust that gets blown up in the air from the nuclear explosions, those gamma rays are pretty intense for several days. That's coming off the dust. That's why they call it fallout. It gets due to the explosion and the radioactivity from the explosion, it evidently makes the ground and everything around it radioactive. So the dust is blown up into the air. Then the atmosphere, the prevailing winds take it and it travels and it falls to the ground. It's called fallout. So it's 2 to 3 weeks underground to survive. Excuse me. To be able to survive while that radioactive dust, the radioactivity diminishes from that dust. And so then you have to think of, well, is anything going to grow? Are there going to be animals around? Is there going to be livestock for food? Don't know. Probably not for a little while. So you need to have a plan there. And typically the prevailing winds come from the west and are blown east. So if you're on any major military establishments to the east of them, it's usually an issue. So that would be the first targets to be hit, whether in a nuclear exchange. So I just wanted to talk to you guys and share my thoughts. And I'm just watching all this stuff and seeing all the corrupt activity our government's doing and how other governments are responding. I don't know. I just don't know what's going on with other governments around the world, how corrupt they are. But watching what America is doing, it makes me sick. I should say America, this United States criminal corporation. You know, I never had my hopes up with Trump because I knew the United States government, I knew there was no government in America but a corporation. I was kind of hoping Trump would set things straight and shut that corporation down, but Trump reminds me of a scam artist, saying what people want to hear, then doing just the opposite of what needs to be done. For example, he's bitching at the Federal Reserve to lower interest rates right now. That's just making more cheap money and inflating and causing inflation, and it's going to make the problem worse. Anybody can figure this out. It's just one thing after another that's going on behind the scenes that people have high hopes of Trump and had high hopes, but I just see him as like a cheap salesman selling you a piece of crap, and it turns, it does exactly the opposite of what it was supposed to do. So not much has changed as far as I'm concerned. We're still heading this thing off a cliff as fast as we can go. It seems like there's no brakes on. But guys, I just want to share my thoughts with you for a little while and think about learning how to go your own way apart from what we're currently doing, because there might become a day where nothing works like it used to. So have some preparedness under your belt so it's not such a shock to your system and your environment and you yourself, because the power don't work, the lights don't work, due to an EMP or whatever. I mean, we're done. How are you going to... your stuff in your fridge is going to rot. You know, it'd be good to have some canned food around, or some dehydrated food or dried food, stuff like that. But just got to think out of the box a little. And I bet probably most of you guys on here that will see this video already know about this stuff. So like I said, I'm just watching what's going on, and things are really speeding up quick to where it's about showtime. So this has been Aaron with Christian Men Going Their Own Way. I think God has saw it good that everybody should know the stuff that He wrote. He showed it to many prophets in the Old Testament, and I would even venture to guess, I'm not a Muslim, I've never read the Quran, but I bet even in other quote religions that He showed them what was coming. I bet the Native Americans know just about any major religion that walked in, made an attempt to walk in truth, because God cares about people. He cares about cares about everybody. So, and He wanted everybody to know that His kingdom, Jesus' kingdom, Jesus is, I'm sorry, I'm rambling here. The Son of God's kingdom is going to return and be set up here on earth. So, and then justice will be led to victory. And the kingdom goes out by invitation. So everybody's invited. So it has nothing to do with how we are or how we've been and what we've done. Lord knows most of us don't change. So it's an invitation. Just simple as that. You're welcome to come. Faith and trust in Jesus Christ. That's the means of entrance. You're invited. So, anyways, guys, have a good night and keep your heads up and go MGTOW.